It's no secret that 2025 hasn't been exactly the best year for movies, and more often than not, when I see a new movie that gets the most glowing reviews from all the mainstream media critics and sky-high audience scores on Rotten Tomatoes, it usually ends up being a farce. So when I heard about this new horror mystery thriller movie, Weapons, I was actually very skeptical about it. Still, as a movie reviewer, if there's something of a buzz surrounding a new movie, the least I could do is go check it out. Now, in this review, because this movie is built on a lot of unexpected developments, I'm going to find a way to describe my thoughts about the movie so that on one hand it'll be meaningful for anybody that's already seen it, but at the same time, it also won't spoil it for anybody that actually wants to go check it out. But before we begin, if it's not too much trouble, please take a few seconds to like and subscribe, because that kind of support for an independent movie reviewer like myself would really go a long way.
Do it.
Weapons starts off with a narration of a little girl telling us that there were once 17 children in this town and that they've disappeared and nobody can find them. And while I don't love this type of narration, I will say that it does set the stage for what we're about to see. Initially, we're introduced to Justine, who used to teach all of these children that disappeared, and of course the children's parents are suspicious that maybe she has something to do with it, or if nothing else, maybe she knows some information that she's not telling them. And as we were focusing on this character, during the first few minutes of the movie, I didn't exactly know where it was all going. And to be honest, I wasn't sold either. I even thought to myself, wow, we're gonna get 2 hours of this? But to the movie's credit, I have to say that very quickly, the movie does find its footing early on. And once it does, you really do get pulled into the story and the mystery. And for me, the more things were unfolding on screen, the more I became invested in seeing where this whole thing develops. And the first 30 minutes of the movie end up being very effective in introducing you to the different characters of the town and some of the dynamics between them. As the movie progresses, you also start seeing different events and scenes from different characters' perspectives. And when I initially saw that the movie was trying to do that, I once again had a bad feeling, because more often than not, when movies do that, they actually fail unless they're done by somebody that really knows what they're doing. I guess what I'm saying is, most of the time, if you don't have a writer that has a real vision for what he's trying to create, somebody like, let's say, a Tarantino, this specific kind of idea, if not executed correctly, could end up derailing a movie. But again, I have to say that writer and director Zach Kreger actually does a good job at setting up the story, giving you the different angles, and somehow tying it all together by the end of it. Not only that, I also have to say that as a director, Kreger really understood the type of atmosphere, visual style, and vibe that he was looking to achieve here, and his overall work is pretty solid, not only in the way he builds the suspense, but also in the way that he directs the actors themselves. And as somebody that really wasn't familiar with Zach Kreger, I have to say that this guy was really able to surprise me, and of course, without spoiling any details, I think that this movie isn't predictable at every step of the way, which I like. And as the different layers unfold and you discover more and more about what's going on, it's done in a way that feels rather stylish and satisfying, and there's also a good amount of payoffs to the different setups that happen earlier in the movie. Of course, in a movie like this, you still need a cast that could really sell this idea, and one of the best things that happened to this movie, at least in my opinion, is that Pedro Pascal, who was supposed to have one of the main roles, ended up backing out of the movie and replaced by Josh Brolin last minute. And let me tell you something, if you now offer to give Josh Brolin every role that you intended to give Pedro Pascal, I'm signing that deal. Because quite honestly, I thought he was a real upgrade. Another good thing I can say about the cast is that Julia Garner puts in a good performance as well. I've said on this channel before that I think that Julia Garner is a really good character actress, and the first 30 minutes of the movie really rely on her in order to get the movie started. And she does show that she's able to carry the narrative weight during those parts and do it well. The movie also features Benedict Wong, who we're familiar with from Doctor Strange and Avengers Endgame, and he's always fun to see. And I think that actress Amy Madigan does a really good job here as well. Another pleasant surprise here was that somebody finally knew what to do with actor Eldon Ehrenreich, who unfortunately for him is mostly known for playing in that forgettable Han Solo movie and in that embarrassing Ironheart show. But the truth is, as a character actor who's worked with the likes of Christopher Nolan and the Coen brothers in the past, if given the right material, Alden Alan Ehrenreich can actually put in a good performance, and I think he does that here too. But the real question we have to answer here is, even if I enjoyed this movie, and even if I thought that this movie did whatever it set out to do, is all this hype surrounding it really justified? Is it really the best movie ever made? Does it deserve a 97 on Rotten Tomatoes from the critics and a 90 from the audience? Well, considering that those are the type of scores you give a movie like The Godfather, I'd say that they probably are not an accurate way to describe this movie. But with that being said, I still think that it's a good movie, and it's probably one of the better movies I've seen this year. Not a high bar because we've had a lot of stinkers, but still, it's certainly well made, and there's a lot to like about it if you like horror mystery thrillers like this one. And if I myself had to give this movie a score where anything below 60 is considered a failing grade, I suppose I would give this movie an 81 out of 100, which means that not only is it a good movie, I actually recommend it, especially if you're into this genre. And if you enjoy getting honest reviews from an independent movie reviewer like myself, please consider liking and subscribing, as it would really help my channel. Thanks for watching, my friends. Thank you, and good day.
I am such an awesome guy. I make so many videos.